Sibai low le Musai Minet loaded. Around through Musai. Oh, needy like where any like where King Widow by you, make really light down. Jesus, calling Gondola.
Meet Wiratu, Myanmar's fascist monk.
Now we've been trying to get an interview with Wiratu himself, but he jet sets all the time around the country.
On this week's In Focus, we're in Myanmar to find out why Muslims are fearing for their lives. Mandalay, Myanmar's cultural centre and former royal capital. It's a beautiful city, packed with the treasures of the country's history. The palace, the dozens of pagodas, and Mandalay Hill. The country has been opening up to foreigners along with the democratic movement, and tourists have been flocking here to see a culture so long hidden behind military rule. The city, like the rest of Myanmar, is majority Buddhist. Pagodas are almost everywhere you look. But like in the rest of Myanmar, Mandalay has a Muslim minority. Until recently, the communities have been living in peace. A Muslim man lies dead by the side of the road. His wife is distraught. Recently, a Buddhist woman was allegedly raped by a Muslim man. The police posted the information on the media. Some Buddhist groups got angry.
It's difficult to film in this town. The police keep a tight rein on journalists, but just over the road is the tea shop that was owned by the alleged rapist, a Muslim man. A couple of months ago, a Buddhist mob came here looking for trouble, looking for revenge, but then local Muslims came out to defend the shop. There were clashes.
Across the street, an eyewitness offered to tell us what happened. We went to his balcony overlooking the shop.
Some group of men came, then local Muslims came to protect the shop. More crowds gathered and then the police came. On this occasion, they were able to stop things getting out of hand.
Down below, we were pointed out a group of Muslims carrying food. They are on their way to a Buddhist temple to give offerings to Buddhists on a holy day. This tradition has stretched back decades, a sign of once good relations between the two groups. But this eyewitness, a Muslim, says he can no longer walk outside his home at night. He's not alone. The wife of the deceased told us what happened.
He got up early to read the Quran. Then he said he was going to the mosque around the corner. This was at about 4 a.m. I argued with him and said he shouldn't go out, but he said he'd be fine and went anyway. When it was daylight, we heard someone had been killed. I went down to have a look. My husband was well known around the area, but nobody could recognize him as he was so badly beaten. But I recognized him straight away.
Nearby, we met a Muslim businessman, a friend of the man killed in the street.
He is a very good guy and he is like my brother. So still I'm sad for him. So after that I feel I hopeless and I lost all the confidence to live in here.
The man's death was seen as some kind of revenge for the alleged rape of a Buddhist woman, but it's now clear that that rape never happened.
There was a Buddhist woman who was raped, is that true?
No, you can see all the national newspaper, also government news agency legally announced that. That's rape is a just accusation.
But she said she was paid, is that right?
Sure.
The woman has since admitted that she was never raped, but that in fact she was paid to say that she was. It's still not clear who paid her.
Was this rape case made up, and by who?
Yeah, look there. Yeah, look there. So that niya the Yakaima Pite has a lucy. The Gegu Jonya, Toy like Kadehama. The double yeah, bet the lather low. I could now so Pite Manly case has a lucy. Oh, Tajet a cool. The rain in a topido. Panigera, yeah, Pite.
စီဝါရေးလုပ်လဲမျိုးသားရေးအမြင်နဲ့လုပ်တယ်အဲကြောင့်သူတို့မျိုးသားတွေဟိုမြေတွေလိုက်ဝဲတာအိမ်တွေလိုက်ဝဲတာဒီငွေတို့ပိုက်ပြီးတော့မင်းကလေးတွေလိုက်တောင်းတာကြည့်ရင်ကြည့်သလောက်ကောင်းရင်ကောင်းသလောက်လူမျိုးကိုဝါမျိုးမယ်ဘာသာသာသနာကိုဖျက်ဆီးမယ်နိုင်ငံရဲ့မြေထုရေထုတွေကိုလူယူမယ်တိမ့်ပိုက်မယ်ဒါပဲ
This is Wiratu, perhaps Myanmar's most famous Buddhist monk. His hate speech against Muslims has shocked the world and for many disgraced his faith.
Now, we've been trying to get an interview with Wiratu himself, but he jet sets all the time around the country and he's been ignoring our phone calls. So we've come here to his own monastery in Mandalay to try and speak to him, but he's not here, and his press secretary says he doesn't want to speak to Western journalists anymore, and he's instructed all his monks here not to speak to us either.
Inside his room, pictures of himself adorn the walls. Monks are revered almost like gods. Wiratu's image also recently graced the cover of Time magazine. He responded by saying the magazine had committed serious human rights abuses for publishing the story. He then went on to blame Muslims for the article, saying that he believed that Arabs are in control of the global media. Although he is not here, his hate speech is not hard to find. Around the temple complex are boards set up to educate fellow monks and visitors.
Here we have the story of a Buddhist woman who was married to a Muslim man, and it tells the story here of how she was killed by her husband for practicing Buddhism and not Islam. Down here we have lots of newspapers telling us stories about how bad Muslims are, and over here some very graphic photographs. On this one it says this is what's happening in Rakhine State in the east the west of Burma. This is allegedly what Rohingyas have been doing to local Buddhists. Here we have the Muslim insurgency in South Thailand and what apparently they've been doing. Some very gruesome images, killing monks, etc. And here we have what's allegedly been happening in Bangladesh, the desecration of Buddhist shrines.
It's these kind of gruesome pictures sent around via social media that stir up hatred in countries and conflicts around the world. Pictures like these can turn normal people into extremists. One monk who did speak to us told us that he had come to this temple specifically to learn more from Wiratu. Far from being marginalized, Wiratu is widely followed throughout the country and has the respect of thousands of monks.
But it's very popular, these ideas though, isn't it? Wiratu and his movement, they're very popular. Why are they so popular if they're not true?
Because one thing is our overall general education. The overall education of our country is very low, so that people are easy to believe some rumors and easy to believe some rulers, baseless opinions and some accusation. Because according to the religious teaching, most of people very much pay attention to the religious leader like the Buddhist monk. Because the Buddhist monk, they believe that the Buddhist monk are same rank to the gods, Buddha.
Well, kuchago, young like kuchago. Quasidiku well. Copiasidiku yayo, a busy. The Imian we yandu letter out by. We were that go nina. Ding within a manglady or shoe. A day out of my mother to him. Mulla glady go long time here and rape him. Pada upsime, Dadana upsime.
In the last episode of In Focus, we exposed the continued plight of the Muslim Rohingyas. Living in Rakhine State in the west of the country, for the last 2 years they are being ethnically cleansed from the country. Hundreds of thousands of Rohingyas are now living in camps in Myanmar. People are dying due to the lack of healthcare every day. The government is doing its best to expel them from the country. Perhaps the saddest thing is that most people in Myanmar are completely unsympathetic to their plight.
Since the conflict, 2 years.
2 years.
What do you see as the future happening? What's the end of this?
I can say this, the futures, because we lose all of our dreams, we lose our homes, our hope. So now we are homeless, hopeless. So we have no futures.
Buddhist monks have been participating in the hatred against them. Wiratu is at the forefront of the campaign to demonize them. Wiratu is popular amongst monks across Rakhine State. His message of the threat of Islamization resonates here as local people attempt to find excuses for the ethnic cleansing of Rohingyas. In a monastery in Rakhine, we were taken to see a head monk. He was a big fan of Wiratu. I asked the monk why Rohingyas were being attacked. Just like in Mandalay, violence began when a Buddhist woman was allegedly raped. Provocative images of the alleged rape were then posted all over the internet in an attempt to stir up hatred against Rohingyas.
Before the violence, we are living together. We love them. We are working in our house. We're living together.
What do you think of Wiratu and the 969 movement?
That's a channel is channelized by the military intelligence, and after that some military leader also agree on that. One very...
So you think they're supported by the government?
Sure.
USCB ကဒီနေ့2010ကိုလောက်တော့မဲ့အချိန်မှာထောက်လိုင်းရေးခေတ်ကမွေးထားခဲ့တဲ့ဒီ informer ဖုန်းကြီးတွေလူတွေရဲ့ဒီကြက်ခိုင်ရေးကဖန်တီးခဲ့တဲ့စွမ်းအားရှင်တွေရဲ့ informer တွေရဲ့ပေါင်းပြီးတော့တခါဒီလောက်ရက်ကိုဖုန်းကြီးနဲ့လူဘက်ကိုလွှဲလိုက်ပြန်တယ်
In other countries, people like Wiratu are often marginalized by society and condemned by the government. Here in Myanmar, the government has done little to remonstrate with him, leading to inevitable accusations that they support him.
Why is the government and the police trying to stir up tensions between Muslims and Buddhists?
ဒီသူ့ရဲ့အုပ်စိုးမှုမှာသူ့ရဲ့အစိုးရအစိပ်ပိုင်းတွေဖြစ်တဲ့ရဲတို့သူထောက်ထားတဲ့ပါတီတို့တွေရဲ့အားလုံးဟာပူးပေါင်းပြီးတော့ဖန်တီးတာဟာသူ့ရဲ့ရည်တည်မှုအတွက်ပဲ They preach a hate speech and they highlight on the endangerment of Islamization in Myanmar. So we are breed a lot and we take the 4 wives and breed a lot and then so one day the Myanmar may be the majority population may be Muslim. So that time the Buddhists and the Buddhist people will be vanishing.
How many wives do you have?
I think I'm one wife. It's enough, more than enough.
အဲ့ဒီလိုလုပ်တဲ့အချိန်မှာပဲကျွန်တော်နိုင်ငံမှာမရှိတာကဒီစာပေလွတ်လပ်ခွင့်မရှိဘူးစာပေလွတ်လပ်ခွင့်မရှိတဲ့ဒီကာလမှာသူကနိုင်ငံတကာရေးရာဆိုတဲ့ဟာကဘာမှာရှိတဲ့အစ္စလာမ်နိုင်ငံတွေအကြောင်းကိုသူကထုတ်ဝေတယ်အီရတ်ပါလက်စတိုင်းလစ်ဗျာအာဖဂန်ပါကစ္စတန်ဘင်လာဒင်တို့အယ်ကိုင်ဒါတို့ကလည်းခေတ်စားလာတဲ့အချိန်ဟောအဲ့ဒီအချိန်ကနေစပြီးတော့ဒီတခြားပြည်သူတွေရဲ့ခေါင်းထဲမှာဒီမွတ်စလင်အကြမ်းဖက်ဆိုတာကိုစဝင်လာတယ်ဟိုးရင်တော့လေရင်ပြန်ပြီးဆွဲတဲ့တုန်းကတော့မှဟို terrorist လို့မဝင်ခဲ့ဘူး
ඔබ දන්නවද ඔබ සමහර විට නොදැන ඔය මුස්ලිම් හෝටල් වලට ගිහිල්ලා කාලා බීලා හැම ඇති දන්නවද ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ අල් කුරානේ තියෙන නීතිය මොකක්ද නීතිය ඔවුන්ගේ නීතිය තමයි ඉස්ලාම් නොවන මුස්ලිම් නොවන අන්‍ය ජාතික වන අන්‍ය ආගමික වන ඕනම කෙනෙකුට කෑමක් දෙනවා නම් බීමක් දෙනවා නම් තුන් පාරක් කෙල ගහලා තමයි දෙන්නේ. තුන් පාරක් කෙල ගහලා තමයි දෙන්නේ. හෝටල් වල ඔය බොන තේ එකට කෙල පාරවල් වැදිලා ඇති. මුස්ලිම් හෝටල් වලට ගිහිල්ලා කාපු කෑම වලට ඔබ දන්නේ නැතුව කෙල පාරවල් වැදිලා ඇති. ශරියා නීතිය ඕකයි.
This monk isn't from Myanmar, but from Sri Lanka. Last year I travelled there to film a similar story about the BBS, Buddhabala Sena, a racist group of monks inspired by Wiratu. Like in Myanmar, Sri Lanka has a minority Muslim population who are now under threat. Hatred is being stirred up by a group of monks, once again with links to the government. At the BBS offices in Colombo, I interviewed their founder.
ගහ ගැනීම මරා ගැනීම ලේහලා ගැනීම ඒ බුද්ධ ආගමේ කොහෙවත් නැහැ හිංසනයක්. ඒතර ඒගොල්ලෝ ඇවිල්ලා වෙඩි තියනකම් අපිට භාවනා කරන්නද කිය ප්‍රශ්න දිනේ අපිට කියන්න තැනක් නැහැ ලෝකේ. ඒ නම්බර්ස් ගණනින් ඒගොල්ලෝ ලෝකෙ ඒගොල්ලන්ට මුදල් තියෙනවා. අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම අපිට අවශ්‍ය ඉන්ටර්නැෂනල් බුද්දිස්ට් ෆ්‍රන්ට් එකක් හදන්න. ඒ ආයුධ වලින් සන්නද්ධ වෙච්ච ත්‍රස්ත බිය නැති කරන්න නම් අපි මතවාදීව ශක්තිමත් හඬක් ලෝකෙ නැගී.
The BBS used the same slogans as Wiratu. Muslims breed too much. They have violent terrorist tendencies. They are trying to Islamize the country, therefore we must fight back. And once again, with a popular base already secured and with little or no government condemnation, they are growing in popularity.
Not communal conflicts. It's just a one-sided attack. So Muslims are attacked and Muslims are treated. So like this. The problem is not starting that last year or last month, or because we are under pressure since the military regime started after the 1988.
Before 1988, Myanmar was a communist country. Almost all industry was nationalized and brought under government control under the Burmese way to socialism.
So before 1988, there's no too much religious discrimination because of at that time the socialism. So every human has a same value and same dignity. So we treat lights not so much difference. So we Muslims are like local people. We have every nearly equal rights.
In 1988, after years of student pro-democracy protest, socialism was overthrown, not by the people, but by a military coup. Since then, the military has ruled over the country.
After the 1988 military coup, so Muslims also involved in the NLD party, and also they support very strongly to the lady Dawn San Suu Kyi. So that's we are the target. So government makes a well plan to eliminate us in the political movement and also the anti-government movement.
88အရေးခင်းဖြစ်တဲ့အချိန်မှာမွတ်စလင်တွေအများစုပါတယ်။ဘာကြောင့်လဲဆိုတော့ရန်ကုန်မြို့လယ်ကောင်နဲ့မန္တလေးမြို့လယ်ကောင်မှာအဲ့ဒီခြေနေအဲ့ဒီခေတ်ကမွတ်စလင်လူနေရက်ကွက်များလို့ရန်ကုန်မှာစပြီးတော့ပြစ်ခတ်မှုဖြစ်တဲ့နေ့ကတောက်ကြနေဖြစ်ပြီးတော့ဒီမွတ်စလင်တွေပလီရထွက်လာတဲ့နေ့တနာရီခွဲအချိန်မှာပြစ်ခတ်မှုစဖြစ်တာဖြစ်တယ်
So that time military intelligence starting to make some discrimination and to distribute the hate speech on us. It's nearly 26 years after that now this success. Now every people in Myanmar mostly don't like us because of the military intelligence hate speech is a success. The
စစ်အာဏာရှင်အစိုးရမှာဘာကပဆိုတာကိုလက်ညှိုးထိုးပြပြီးတော့သူ့ကိုရန်သူဖြစ်ခံနေပြီးတော့ဘာကပဟာတရားဌာပနာတွေထောက်တယ်။ဘုန်းကြီးတွေကိုလူဝင်လဲပြီးလုံခိုင်းမယ်ဆိုတော့လူတွေကိုဝါဒပြတ်ပြီးတော့6လုံးစစ်တပ်ရည်တည်1989မှာဗမာပြည်ကွန်မြူနစ်ပါတီဘာကပဟာပြည်ပွဲသွားတယ်။ အဲ့ဒီအချိန်ကနေစပြီးတော့သူ့နေရာမွတ်စလင်တွေကိုရန်သူဖြစ်စားတယ်
Despite all this hate speech and attempts at provoking violence between the two groups, not everyone is listening. At a cafe, we met a monk who said he didn't support Wiratu. He told us that he is working to relax tensions between communities. There are many who are following his lead, and there are many more who simply see no point in hating their neighbours. Despite this, the monk would not openly criticise Wiratu on camera. For many, Wiratu is already too powerful to criticise. Back in downtown Mandalay, fear persists. Muslims are scared to go out at night, and there are many threats made against them.
We've come here to the central mosque in Mandalay to speak to the imam, but he won't speak to us. Why? Because he says that he is threatened by the police, and if he speaks to television, they'll threaten him even more. His associates tell me that the police are constantly coming into this Muslim area, threatening Muslims and arresting some as well, they say, for no reason at all.
For Muslims, their enemy is not the Buddhists, but the government and security forces they say are behind the violence.
ပြောပြပါပြီစစ်အာဏာရှင်တယောက်ဟာသူကရန်သူမရှိဘဲနဲ့စစ်တပ်ကြီးနဲ့ရပ်တည်လို့မရဘူးဘာကဘာမရှိတဲ့တောင်မှဒီနေရာကိုဒီနေ့ကဘာမှာမြင်နေတဲ့အမြင်နဲ့အညီဗမာနိုင်ငံမှာလည်းမွတ်စလင်ကိုအစားထိုးလိုက်တာပါပဲ
For many Muslims, especially those with families, leaving Mandalay is now the only option. The risk of getting killed in the street simply for being a Muslim is too great.
Do you think that in the future there could be much stronger violence against Muslims?
Sure, we have no security. Every people can be inside or every people can be endanger us. So we have no legal protection here.
And so what do you see for the future for Buddhists and Muslims here?
Unsafe and unsecure. Oh, we can pray to Allah. So only Allah can save us.
There are also fears that the situation is only going to get worse. Those behind the violence have ignited a flame the Myanmar government only seem interested in pouring oil over.
And are you scared to go outside at night?
Sure, I don't go out.
At night?
Also, yeah, even daytime I don't go to some area like the Patani or Mandalay Hill. Now I cannot. I'm fear to go to that area. Unsafe. I feel unsafe. Even the evening time, the dark time, I cannot walk around the moat. Formerly, sometimes we walk through the around the moat. It's a good
palace, yeah.
Yeah.
No, you can't even walk around there.
Sure.
During the day.
Sure. Not safe. So every group can be beaten and every group people can be attack us. So we must too much take care about that.
So who are you going to ask for help then?
Currently, I think only the God can save us. Only God can save us.